Hello everybody, how are you doing? So in today's video we will review units 7 and 8. Particularly we will review all the vocabulary and function lessons that we studied in these two units based on Gateway textbook. So let's get started. Before doing some exercises, I would love just to remind you of all the vocabulary items that we studied in this unit, ecology. So as you can see here, we have some environmental problems like pollution, which is divided into three types: air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. So the main causes of air pollution are factories and cars, which give off toxic gases and smokes. And the main cause, or one of the main causes of water pollution, is that people throw rubbish in the oceans, rivers, and lakes. And for the last type of pollution, so land is polluted because people use organic fertilizers and they throw garbage in the streets. Okay, and we have another problem, deforestation, and the main causes of this problem are cutting trees and fires. And we have natural disasters like earthquake, volcano, tsunami, tornado. And the last problem is endangered species, which means animals' number becomes small, right? And one of the main causes of this problem is that people hunt animals, and this leads to extinction, right? So these are the main vocabulary items that we studied in this unit. So now let's move on to practice. So here you are supposed to fill in the blanks with the right word from the list. You have toxic, garbage, give off, endangered species, and recycling. So let's read the following sentences. Number 1 is when paper, glass, plastic, etc. is put through a process so that it can be used again. Number 2, the polar bear is one of the. 3, people should not throw in the street. Number 4, factories and cars, toxic smokes. The carbon dioxide is a gas, right? So here you can pause the video for a while and you do the exercise, right? So now let's correct the exercise together. So these are the answers. So number 1, recycling is when paper, glass, plastic, so etc. And for sentence 2, the correct answer is endangered species, right? Here simply because we have bear, and bear is an animal, right? And for number 3, the correct answer is garbage. And so I would like just to remind you of something, is that when you are answering these types of exercises, you have to look for the key terms, right? So the key terms will help you find the appropriate word. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. So we have so the correct answer here is give off. So the key terms that we have here are factories, cars, and toxic smokes. Now we finish the exercises related to Unit 7. So we will move on to Unit 8, Society and Social Problems. So as usual, before doing some practice, I would love just to remind you of the main vocabulary of this unit. So as you can see in this chart, we have some social problems like shanty towns, immigration, strikes, poverty, unemployment or joblessness, road accident, homeless children, beggars, illiteracy, and some suggested solutions like investment, microloans, education, contraceptives, non-governmental organizations, and associations. So here you are supposed to match the words with their definitions, right? So let's read the words and the definitions, right? So number one, we have poverty, we have dangerous diseases, shanty towns, joblessness, illiteracy, road accidents, homeless children, and finally, beggars. And for the definitions, A, we have a state of being not educated. B, a person living by asking for money. C, consequence of not respecting road code. D, state of not being able to get the necessities of life. E, lack of job opportunities. F, houses lacking healthy conditions to live in. G, kids living away from or without their families. And finally, H, illnesses that cannot or are difficult to cure. Okay, as I said before, you can pause the video and do the exercise, and later on you could have a look at the answers. You can check your answers. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. So what? Poverty. So the correct answer is D. Okay, poverty is a state of not being able to get the necessities of life. The correct answer of number 2 is H. Okay, dangerous diseases, okay, are illnesses that cannot or are difficult to cure. Number 3 is F, shanty towns, houses lacking healthy conditions to live in. Number 4 is E, joblessness is lack of job opportunities. Number 5 is A, illiteracy is a state of being not educated. Okay, number 6 is C, road accidents is the consequence of not respecting road code. Number 7 is G, homeless children are kids living away from or without their families. And finally, H is B, beggars, or a beggar is a person living by asking for money. Okay, that's it. So now we finish all the exercises related to the vocabulary component, and now we will move on to the second component, function. In Unit 7, the function that we studied is hope and wish. And before we do some exercises, I would love just to remind you of the main points and the main uses of hope and wish. So we use the verb hope when something is very possible, right? When we are talking about something that can happen either in the present or in the future. And we use the verb wish to talk about impossible things or things that are not likely to happen, things that you don't really expect to happen. Simply put, wish is we use it when we talk about unreal situations or something that is impossible to happen either in present or future, right? So now let's move on to practice. So here you have different situations, and you are supposed to respond to these situations using wish or hope, right? So let's read the situations, right? So number one, my mobile phone doesn't have a Bluetooth technology. Number two, you are impatient because it is raining and you want to go outside. Number three, you have an English test tomorrow. You seem well prepared. Number four, Karim doesn't speak Spanish. He can't talk to his Mexican neighbor. 6, they can't give up smoking. And finally, everybody has a computer, but you don't have one. Okay, so here you can pause the video for a while and you do the exercise, and when you finish you can check your answers. So let's correct it together. So situation 1. So this is the correct answer. I wish my phone had a Bluetooth technology, right? So this is something that is impossible because you can't change this. Your phone doesn't have a Bluetooth technology, okay? Number 2, you are impatient because it's raining and you want to go outside. The correct answer is, I wish it would stop raining. So here, you cannot do anything about this. You can't change the fact that it's raining now, and you can't change this because, maybe it's too late or that's it. So this is the correct answer. Let's move on to number 3. Okay, number 3. You have an English test tomorrow. You seem well prepared. So the correct answer here, I hope that I will have a good mark. So this is something that is possible. It can be achieved because here you are well prepared for the exam, okay? And number 4, Karim doesn't speak Spanish. He can't talk to his Mexican neighbor. So the answer is, Karim wishes he spoke Spanish. So here it's impossible for Karim to speak Spanish, right? Because maybe he didn't learn Spanish when he was a child, or even when he is an adult now, okay? So it's impossible for him to speak Spanish, right? Number 6, they can't give up smoking. They wish they could stop smoking. 7, everybody has a computer, but you don't have one. I hope I have a computer. So this is something that is possible. That's why we use hope here. You can have a computer maybe in the future. Why not? Okay, now let's move on to the second function in Unit 8, which is making and responding to suggestions. Okay, so before doing some practice, I would love to remind you of the main points and the uses of expressions of suggestions, right? So we have let's. So when you use the chunk let's, you must add a verb that expresses your suggestion. This form of the verb must be the infinitive form, no matter how many people you address. So the verb following the chunk let's is always in infinitive. For example, let's go outside, let's listen to music, let's watch a movie, right? We have here how about and what about. Okay, so what about and how about have the same meaning, right? And we can use them with a gerund, verb plus ing. For example, what about eating pizza? Now let's do some practice. Okay, so here you are supposed to choose the correct answer, right? Sentence 1. Hi Alex, would you like to the cinema with me? We have go, going, to go. Number 2, why don't we a football match? Playing, to play, play. Number 3, let's out for a meal. You have to go, going, and go. Number 4, how about this weekend? You have to visit, visiting, and visit. Number 5, what about your brother for help? Asking, to ask, and asked. As I always tell you, you can pause the video for a while and you do the exercise, and when you finish, check the answers, whether your answers are correct or not. So let's correct it together. So number 1, the correct answer is go. Would you like to go? So we use the verb in infinitive form, right? For number 2, the correct answer is play. Why don't we play, right? Number 3, the correct answer is go. Let's go out for a meal, right? Number 4, the correct answer is visiting. How about visiting, right? Using the verb in gerund form, right? And number 5, what about asking? Okay, the correct answer is asking. Again, we use verb plus gerund, right? And now it's your turn to make a suggestion, right? Here you are going to respond to different situations, right? Using expressions of suggestion, right? So this is the first situation. Your friend is very bored. You see an old woman is carrying heavy bags. I'm cold. Your friend is hungry. Your mother is too tired to cook. Tomorrow is your friend's birthday. I have a cold. So these are the situations that you have to respond to. All the answers are correct as you use expressions of suggestions. So that's it. Thank you so much for your attention and see you next time. Bye, and don't forget to stay at home.